Hey, Lindsay, are you in the room? Yeah. Okay.
Don't want you to be like, I can't hear Joel.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I think so. I just don't want to hear the piano. Yeah, great. Thank you.
Tina, can you try to get everybody out of there and into here?
Okay, cool. Obviously, whenever I'm singing without
Oh,
them,
God,
make
that's
sure
great.
you can hear me. But, yeah. Cool. That's what I'll do.
Check.
I would leave it on because I'm going to go right to there. Yeah. Hi, Ava. Hey, Eric. How are you?
We're going to be running late tonight at the rate we're going.
It's a good question.
I'm not going to be using that one. I'll step away from it, though. Wherever Mike the closest to is the one they go to. I think so, yeah, because they'll never remember knowing these kids. I would love to talk to you after, though. If everyone could grab a seat, we're going to begin in 2 minutes. Samantha, you in the, Samantha, you out there. Julian, pop your head out that door and let me know. Amy, is Samantha right there? She is. Can she hear me? Tell her to sort of stand in the doorway. That'd be great. You can see all the different contingents here.
What? Oh, you look great. You look fantastic. Okay, they're sitting up there. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so the right-hand side under.
Check, check. Is this low? Feels like it's very low.
Samantha, can you come here real quickly?
Test 1, 2. Pretty good. We're starting.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is great to see everyone here tonight. The start of a 3-day weekend, the end of Shavuot, because as the sun sets, Shavuot ends. It's also, the beginning of our confirmation ceremony. We'll be honoring our confirmants tonight. They will be leading us in prayer. And of course, we'll be kicking off the start of Ava's bat mitzvah. So if you're here for Ava or not, give her a big round of applause. You're doing good, right? You're not nervous? Good. That's what we want. So for the last 24 hours, we've been celebrating the holy day of Shavuot. And it commemorates the giving of Torah at Mount Sinai. Over the last 50 days, we've left Egypt. We finally got to Mount Sinai, and at this moment, we're given the Torah. And we're taught that this moment was the beginning. It was the beginning of us coming together as a people because we were all individuals until this moment. Individuals who had left slavery. But there we were at the foot of Mount Sinai, and we heard God's voice, and we had a moment of revelation. A mystical moment of connecting to all that is holy. And in that moment, we became a people. And from there, we moved forward, creating a nation by spending 40 years in a desert. And so we often think of Shavuot as the beginning of peoplehood, the beginning of coming together, the beginning of understanding that holiness comes from communities. And so we always honor that beginning. And so often we take confirmation and we place it on Shavuot. But I never look at confirmation as a beginning. I look at it as a middle. Because our confirmation students have all gone through religious school. They've all had B'nai Mitzvah. And then they come back and they take confirmation class. And for the energy they put into all of their study, I know that for confirmation students, there's a middle. There'll be more. There's more down the road where they will learn, where they will study, and where they will grow. So tonight we're going to be honoring 4 young adults who will be leading us in prayer. Evan Schreier, Haley Katowski, Danielle Deculus, and Morgan Pine. And these 4 young adults who have continued on their journey of education will lead us in prayer. They'll share their opinions and teach us some of the things that they've learned over the past year. And they will remind us about the importance of Torah. They will remind us about the importance of beginnings, because at every beginning, that's a moment of forming community. And so now I'm going to ask everyone to rise as they enter our sanctuary with Torahs in hand. And they'll be coming down the center aisle in case any parents want to get pictures. And they will be coming in one at a time.
Is this the little boy I carry? Is this the little girl I play? I don't remember growing older. When did they? When did she get to be a beauty? When did he grow to be so tall? Wasn't it yesterday when they were small? Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, swiftly flow the days. Seedlings turn overnight to sunflowers, blossoming even as we gaze. Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, swiftly fly the years, one season following another, laden with happiness and tears.
The 4 of you remain standing. Everyone please sit. Our confirmation students are going to lead us in Hinei Ma Tov. And I don't have a page number on that, but if you know it, sing along with them as they sing into their microphones. Hinei Ma Tov, it means how wonderful it is when we come together in community, in joyous community.
Hinei ma tov
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Firstly, we would like to thank everyone for coming tonight. We are very proud of our small group of students who have learned a lot throughout this year. At the other podium is my classmate Danielle, and behind us are our classmates Morgan and Haley. Hey Danielle, what inspired you to take confirmation this year?
Well, Evan, I took this class not only to hang out with my friends and add another thing to my resume, but also to genuinely learn more about my faith. How about you?
I took this class because I kind of failed it the first time. I'm kidding, don't worry. I took it a second time because the first time I took it, there was this silly little thing that got in the way. What was it? Oh, COVID.
Throughout the year, we studied many Jewish texts and ideas from Jewish scholars. We dove deep into various meanings of God, as well as our own, and we reflected on Jewish texts on sex, gender, abortion, environmental issues, and gun violence. We also studied different ways to approach prayer, the Jewish customs surrounding illness, dying, and death, and the truth behind the story and traditions of Hanukkah.
However, confirmation was not just limited to Rabbi John's office. In February, we all traveled to Litaken, a retreat in Washington, D.C., with Jewish teens from all over the U.S., where we learned Jewish values in regards to politics and social justice. Then, after lobbying D.C., we returned to L.A. and enthusiastically volunteered to perform as actors in our annual Purim spiel. Rabbi forced us to.
We learned a lot about all of these topics, and we hope everyone here tonight learned something as well. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the service.
Now, we would like everyone to turn to page 138 and join us in the singing of Lecha Dodi. We will be singing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9, and on the last verse, we will rise if we are able and face the door to welcome the Sabbath bride.
Dodi nitrakah b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi nitrakah b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'diburecha tishtianu el hameyuchad Adonai.
Adonai.
b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
You may all be seated, except for Ava and her family, and I'm going to ask them to come forward to light our Shabbat candles. And Mom just made it back in time. Yes? You're not singing for a while. So I'm going to have you light our Shabbat candles. And if somebody from the family wants to get a picture of them, feel free. And as we light the candles, we're welcoming our Sabbath bride to enter our homes and our hearts. We just sang to her, and she's in this space, but this becomes the gateway into Shabbat, the gateway into 24 hours of relaxation, love, kindness, and peace. And now if you could light our candles.
La 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 ya 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 ra 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav V'tzivanu lehadlik ner V'tzivanu lehadlik ner V'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shel Shabbat.
As Jews, we want to create a better world for not only ourselves, but also for others. In order to make a change to the injustices we notice as Jewish teens, we learned to exercise our right to speak out against the injustices and issues in our society.
In the beginning of confirmation class, we were introduced to a political tactic known as gerrymandering. Gerrymandering can be defined as changing the district lines to favor a specific political party. Most of the time, gerrymandering is harmful to districts with less political representation. A lot of the time, these areas are primarily minorities. With this tactic, these minorities get less representation, which creates an unfair political environment for many. We saw this as an injustice, and the introduction to this unfair political environment that we live in actually influenced us to create change.
In February of this year, the four of us and Rabbi John took a trip to Washington, D.C., to a program run by the Religious Action Committee of the Reform Movement, called Let's Haken. During our time in D.C., we participated in workshops, gained information on our topics, and learned how to effectively lobby, all while connecting everything back to Judaism. Not only did we learn important things about lobbying and political representation, but we also met other Jewish teens from around the country.
The two of us decided to focus our time fighting for equal reproductive rights nationwide. Our other two classmates, Danielle and Evan, decided to lobby for criminal justice reform. The entire experience had a huge impact on how we connect Judaism to our political beliefs. Through lobbying to our Congressman Brad Sherman and exchanging ideas with teens from all over the nation, we learned that our voices can make a difference and that we can affect the future for generations to come. Please rise for the Baruch Hu found on page 146.
La
You may all be seated.
God has been defined in many different ways throughout Jewish history. And over the course of this class, we learned different God interpretations from a variety of philosophers and ancient Jewish texts.
We learned that the God in the Torah is anthropomorphic. This means that God is described with human-like traits. We also learned that God believes in rewarding the people for doing well as punishing people for wrongdoing.
Maimonides, an 11th century sage, saw God as immortal and infinite. Maimonides believed that God was the root cause or prime mover of the entire world and universe, meaning that God caused everything in the world to happen and was the reason why it happened. Not only was God believed to be the prime mover, but also every word in the Torah was believed to be God-given and therefore must be followed.
Jewish mystics, like all mystics, had the goal of connecting themselves directly to God. When you are connected directly to God, you are having a mystical experience. The mystics believed that God is everywhere and everything, but that it took a lot of work to understand that we are part of God and fully connected to God. Instead, we spend most of our time living in a world that is an illusion, but by breaking it down, we find ourselves and we find God.
Martin Buber lived about 100 years ago. He was quite famous during most of the 20th century. Martin Buber's definition started with the basis that God was found in I-thou relationships. He defined these as moments of complete connection with people, objects, and nature. These are moments where you are unaware of time and are fully connected with someone or something else. In these moments, God is present. The opposite of these are I-it relationships, where someone is only thinking about what they gain from an interaction. God is not present in these moments.
The 20th century's rabbi and scholar Mordechai Kaplan believed that everyone can have their own personal God. God is whatever makes a difference in your life. God is whatever makes you more human. He also believes that God is the sum of everything significant in your world.
Rabbi Harold Kushner's definition consisted of believing that God does not change, but everyone who looks at God sees something different. Kushner also believed that there was no reward and punishment, but that bad things can happen to good people. However, from these moments is how people learn life lessons.
Many modern rabbis believe that God is not a subject, but a predicate. God does not make any actions or events happen, though there are actions and events that are considered godly when they do happen. It is, in essence, the difference between believing that God gave you a great test on your math test, a great grade on your math test, and believing that getting a good grade on your math test is a godly event. This predicate theology is also founded on the basis that godliness cannot exist without other things to define it.
Reform Judaism is accepting of many God beliefs. Some Reform Jews interpret God as being present in loving relationships. Others have a personal God who stands by their sides no matter the struggles they face. Most importantly, Reform Judaism believes that everyone is created in B'Tselem Elohim, or in God's image. So every person is perfect and holy in the eyes of God.
Now, we and our classmates each made our own definitions of what we believe God is, and we would like to share them with you. Here's mine. I believe that God exists as an energy. God influences the world in a way that allows various actions and events to happen around you and to you. This prompts you to then respond to these actions and learn from what happens, which is the idea that many people believe of God guiding you through life. I believe that due to God's non-physical nature, it is impossible to directly communicate with God. But while you are in prayer, the energy that you exude, the energy of your raw feelings, the energy of what you long for, and the energy of what you are thankful for, can have an effect on the energy of God, and has the ability for God's energy to have a direct effect on your future.
I believe that God is not present in the sky or on the ground, but instead inside moments and actions. For example, I believe that God is present in one's mind when good deeds are being performed or when there are connecting moments like losing track of time, similar to Buber's I thou moments. I also believe that God does not influence you to do good things, but is instead more present when good actions are performed, prompting you to do them. I believe that you can pray to God, but not so much of God listening and making things occur, but instead as just something to count on as always being present and to give you strength in times of need.
I believe God is the strength that helps us through difficult times and situations and shows us the light at the end of the tunnel. God drives us to be good and our whole selves. However, God changes. God is what one needs in that moment to feel comfortable, safe, and loved.
I believe God is a being that hovers in the back of someone's consciousness when questioning situations or actions performed by yourself or by others. I believe everyone can have a different perception of God while still believing in the same overarching positive qualities and purpose of God's presence. Please rise for the Shema, and if it is your custom, please cover your eyes.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated unless your name is Ava. And if your name is Ava, you're going to come up to Joel and you're going to lead us in the Vahafta. The Vahafta is found on page 154. The Vahafta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meyodecha v'chayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anohi metzavecha hayom alevavecha Veshinantam levanecha vedibarta bam beshivtecha bebetecha uvlechtecha lemderech uvshochbecha uvkumecha uvshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot beineinecha Uvtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher Hotzeiti ehem me'eretz mitzrayim liot lahem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
Yasher Koach, good job.
We learned several different ways to approach prayer. The two main methods are keva and kavanah. Keva focuses on fixed prayer, meaning praying in a rigid and chronological order. For example, when we do the Lecha Dodi, we are supposed to turn and face the back door. Similarly, in Amidah, we take steps backwards and forwards. Kavanah, on the other hand, is praying with intent. You forget about the orderly and systematic ways of prayer and just immerse yourself into the meaning of the prayer. Kavanah can also be spontaneous, full-hearted prayer. Simply, it's prayer without structure, but can turn into something deeper and more emotional.
Another theory we learned on how to enter prayer is described by 4 methods: mental editing, focusing, associate reverie, and beyond the words, all methods coined by theologian Barry Holtz. Holtz wanted a way for people to pray even when they didn't understand the prayer or did not connect with the content. Mental editing is when you mentally adjust the literal content of what we're saying to conform to your own beliefs and values. Focusing is when you center on the values embodied in the liturgy. Associate reverie occurs when you're not concentrating on the content of the liturgy and serves as a catalyst for personal reflection. And finally, beyond the words is when you are swept away by the emotional side of the experience. The Micha Mocha is about freedom because we sang it after 400 years of Egyptian slavery. So sing it with some kavanah in your heart. You can find it on page 158 of your Siddur.
We turn to page 371 for the Misha Berach prayer. We say the Misha Berach for those who are ill of mind, body, and spirit. And you can all be seated. You can have a seat. The Misha Berach reminds us that everyone needs healing. Those who are obviously ill, and so many of us who might have a problem or an illness we have not shared with another. There are so many people who come to me regularly to tell me about their struggles. And yet, in public, they show that they can still move forward with strength and with love. So tonight on our Misha Berach list, we have Abby Rapport, Janet Blake, Pam Branner, Lynn Newman, Susie Sukawayaki, Sharon Friedman, Diana Carew, Jeff Borwitz, Mark Mann, Erwin Ames, Dara LaValle, Jeffrey Albaum, Baylor Robinson, Ed Edelson, Mark Jeff Stickler, Leanne Rosenberg, Trish Santana, David Berger, the Ray family, Dory Glazer, Brad Stone, Glenn Martin, Paul Hiddleman, Micah Enber, Victor Sidlow, Sharon Fisher, Mark Bergman, Michael Burden, Andrea Schlossberg, Nancy Velez, Lisa Sage, Levi Hugendorn, Sue Duenis. And we also think of those affected by acts of anti-Semitism and bigotry, those suffering in the Ukraine, those injured due to border challenges, those healing from all too frequent gun violence, those affected by terrorist attacks and environmental challenges, and all those caring for the ill. We also keep in our hearts those who have illnesses of which we do not know. If you have an additional name for our Misha Berach list, share it with me now. Misha Berach Avatenu V'Imatenu. May the God of our ancestors grant our Fuah Shlema, a complete and full healing to all those named tonight and to all those we hold in our hearts. And together we say, the singing of Misha Berach.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
This past year, we studied Jewish texts from the last 2,500 years. These texts taught us about Jewish perspectives on various controversial topics such as reproductive rights, gun control, and the environment. We observed that these texts often disagreed with one another, so for many, there was not a clear opinion. Judaism's perspective on reproductive rights is that a fetus does not count as a life until its head is outside of the mother's body. When in situations of saving the fetus or the mother's life takes priority. And abortion is legal in Israel. Orthodox organizations, however, do not support the legalization of abortion, and there is a Jewish pro-life foundation that exists. Although there are contradictions, Reform Judaism remains pro-choice. In many ways, it's all about which text you use to support your opinion.
Another controversial topic that we went over in class was gun control. In the Ten Commandments, it says, "You shall not murder," which shows that murdering is directly against the commandments and that gun violence goes against this commandment. It also is explained in other Jewish texts that even those who sell weapons, for example guns, are just as at fault as the person operating the weapon. This influences the Reform movement's stance on gun regulation by wanting to regulate it and provide more gun control legislation. However, some contradictions occur in these texts, such as these texts believe that murder is justified if it is self-defense, which can lead to contradictory thoughts about gun control because many argue that the main reason for having a gun is for self-defense, which is supported by these Jewish texts.
Reform Judaism values our environment. A key philosophy in our religion is tikkun olam, meaning repairing the world. We studied that Judaism teaches to not corrupt or destroy the planet, otherwise known as Bal Tashchit, a key Jewish concept, and that it is our responsibility to protect and preserve the environment.
Our texts contradict one another. As Jews, we can look at one text over the other in order to support our personal viewpoints. Judaism is not necessarily about a final answer, but about a discussion each of us can have with the text. Please rise for the Amidah. We are on page 164.
Adonai, Sefer Tiftach, Ufi Yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei Bneihem, Le'ma'an Shemo ve'ahava, Melech Hozer u'Mashiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Nechayei hakol atah, Rav lehoshia, Mori atah. Mechakel chayim behesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofech holim, Umatir asurim, Umechayei emunah, Lishenei ahava, Michamocha b'hagevurot, Uminam elav, Melech me'min t'chayei, U'atzach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lechachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kedoshim b'chol yom, Hallelujah Selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Hayel HaKadosh.
Let us pray silently through page 180. When you're done with your silent prayer, you may be seated.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon v'chol hashalom, ki ata hu melech adon v'chol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav תשים לעולם, וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
Dying and death are subjects that are laced with emotion and grief. Our Jewish texts help us to comprehend how to deal with these complicated topics. In class, we learned common traditions that are followed when it comes to the loss of a loved one and how these traditions developed.
Traditions vary depending on the duration of time that has passed since the initial loss. Some of the core principles that can be found within the periods referred to as Anenut, Shiva, and Sheloshim are depriving yourself of routine actions in order to focus on the loss itself. After the first year of mourning, tradition continues in the form of Yartzeit, a remembrance on the anniversary of the passing or during certain holidays.
Throughout our studies, we have learned about the specifications of traditional mourning practices and related them to more modernized and reformed practices that are common within our own lives.
We continue with the Mourner's Kaddish, found on page 598. Page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish. And we say the Mourner's Kaddish for those who have passed either recently or during this season in years that have already occurred. In our recently departed list, we have Robert Zelinka, remembered by the Zelinka Lee family. Jerry Mata, remembered by the Mata family. Howard Sanford, remembered by the Deschel family. Michael Brenner, remembered by the Friedman family. Vladimir Litvak, remembered by the Litvak family. Herb Binder, remembered by the Binder, Heller, and Binder families. We also hold in our prayers those taken by gun violence, those who have passed due to floods, fires, and other natural and unnatural disasters, and those killed in regional conflicts. We also think of those who have Yortzites this week. Alyssa Bennett, Russell Candela, Martin DeGan, Nathan Dietrich, Al Dolan, Faye Eisenberg, Ronald Flesch, Lorraine Friedman, Norman Garish, Ruth Glenn, Saul Goldstein, Rose Good, Faye Gorenstein, Blima Greenspan, Arlene Lincoln, Dorel Lyons, Rose Ruth Mandel, Sarah Metzenbaum, Rhonda Michelson, Albert Pavlovsky, Albert Stair, Hilda Stein, Max Waldman, and Alexander Zinger. If you have an additional name for our Kaddish or Yortzeit list, please share it with me now. If you're in the first week of mourning Shiva, I ask you to please rise. If you're in the first the first month of mourning, Shloshim, I ask you to please rise. If you're in the first year of mourning, I ask you to please rise. If you're observing a yortzeit, please rise. These are the mourners in our midst. We rise to show them our support and our love. We are on page 598. Yitgadal v'yikadash shmei Rabba, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malhutei, b'chayachon v'yimechon v'chayei l'chol Beit Yisrael, b'agalav v'zman kari v'imru. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarak le'olam u'lamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabak v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tishbachata v'nechamata, damiran be'alma v'imru. Yehei shlam araba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. May the one who makes peace on high grant peace to all who mourn, to all Israel, and to all humankind. And together we say, you may be seated. And now I know our students have some comments they would like to make at this moment.
I gained a lot from confirmation. Yes, I got to spend time with my friends and make special memories, but I also learned a lot about my faith. I enjoyed studying ancient and modern Jewish perspectives on current issues and analyzing different definitions of God. I found it very interesting to study these texts and observe how our religion evolved or stayed the same. Throughout my incredibly challenging process of discovering my own definition of God, I came out of the journey learning more about myself than I had anticipated. I received more clarity on my beliefs, and I now feel more educated, curious, and confident in my faith, and more proud than ever to be Jewish. Additionally, I'm so grateful I got to spend quality time with my friends Evan, Morgan, and Haley, and of course, Rabbi. Thank you, Rabbi, for guiding us to becoming educated and confident Jewish adults. You are such an incredible teacher, and although we were difficult to deal with sometimes, you were there for us the entire way, sometimes even laughing along with us. Thank you, Morgan, Evan, and Haley, for making confirmation so memorable, fun, and always something I could look forward to on my Tuesday nights. To my wonderful parents and my older brother, Julian, thank you so much for your endless love and support. And finally, thank you all, and my friends from school, for being here tonight and supporting us.
Throughout my time at confirmation, I learned how to dive deeper into Jewish texts and learn about what my religion has to say about topics that plague or grace our everyday lives. There were many aspects of our everyday life that I had no clue there were Jewish values related to, but sure enough, there were. I had lots of fun with my friends and my rabbi, but at the end of the day, I came away with tons of new knowledge and ideas that will prepare me to go join a new Jewish community next year in college. I want to say thank you to everyone involved in the confirmation process. Thank you to Morgan, Haley, and Danielle for learning with me this year and sharing many laughs and making this entire process a fun experience. Thank you to Cantor Joel for helping us prepare for this service. And of course, thank you, Rabbi John, for teaching us this year and for being a sense of sanity when we are all in a crazed frenzy after a long day of school. Finally, thank you to all of you supporting us here in this sanctuary today, especially my parents and my grandparents, and for many of you, for supporting us at home and in our everyday lives.
During my time at confirmation, I believe that I strengthened my connection to Judaism, as well as learning more in-depth things about my religion that I would have not known before. I really enjoyed learning about controversial issues from a Jewish perspective and seeing how much of my personal thoughts about an issue overlap or are similar to those of a Jewish perspective, which made me feel even more connected to Judaism. Overall, this experience really strengthened my faith and made me think about Judaism in another light. I am so grateful for this experience because not only did I learn so much, but I had so much fun learning with my fellow classmates and Rabbi John. Rabbi John, I wanted to thank you so much for all that you have taught me this year and for constantly dealing with our fits of laughter and getting off topic. A lot. I also wanted to thank my classmates Danielle, Morgan, and Evan for making the class so enjoyable and for fun memories that I will always cherish. I also wanted to thank Cantor Joel for helping us prepare for the service and for all of you for being here tonight. Lastly, I wanted to thank my parents, my brother Jonah, and my Nana. They have been such great supporters in everything that I do and are always there for me when I need them.
Throughout my time in confirmation class, I've delved deeper into my thoughts on my religion and what it means to me. I was able to connect on a deeper level with not only my faith, but my classmates as well. Participating in Ken and lobbying in the Capitol really put into perspective how topics I care about can be influenced by my own opinions while still connecting to my religion. Tuesday nights turned from a dreadful midweek time to a time that I ended up looking forward to. Thank you to Danielle, Haley, and Evan for always making me laugh and allowing me to hear and express different opinions in class. Thank you to Rabbi John for guiding us through this process and being there for us every step of the way, except for when you prioritize Starbucks over us in DC. Thank you to Amy on behalf of all of us for your support and for taking care of us in DC. And thank you to Jessica, I don't think she's here, but for keeping us organized and always giving us dinner. And then thank you, Joel, for helping us out with this service. And before we move on to the next part, we have something for you. So.
I go that way?
Yeah.
I'll go that way. Thank you very much. I am honored. So, and I'm going to give you guys your presents in 1 second, too. We have lots of presents. So thank you, and you guys can all be seated. I'm very proud of you all. So now it's my turn to embarrass all of them because I've had a great year studying with them. And in some ways, we learn more than almost any other class I've had, or probably more than any other class I've had, because we didn't pace ourselves. We didn't give ourselves goals where we must get through this material by this date. And we actually got through less material than most confirmation classes. But that's because we kept talking and discussing. And we would sidetrack, and we would laugh, and we would have fun. And it became a point where it didn't really matter whether we got through the entire curriculum. What really mattered was the fact that we were studying and learning together. And I really first want to, I really want to say to Morgan, thank you for pointing out that I kept going to Starbucks while you guys were in D.C., and the organizers would say to them, go to your rabbi now, and I wasn't there, or at least once or twice. So they just pretended like Evan was the rabbi, and they kept going. There's an ancient Jewish idea, it comes from the Talmud. And it believes, or the statement is, iron sharpens iron. As one iron sharpens another, so the scholars sharpen each other's wit. And that's what we did this year. We sharpened each other. We challenged, we talked, and then we challenged some more. And you know that my main idea behind the text, which you all have learned because you mentioned it more than once, is the fact that the text really doesn't give an answer. It begins a conversation. And as Jews, we're always in conversation with our text. And each one of you learned to do that. You didn't get angry at a text you disagreed with. You just went looking for another text. And you knew that if I showed you one point of view, 10 minutes later I could show you another point of view. And the goal is to take from our religion the aspects that work for you. As Mordecai Kaplan would say, take the parts that make you more human. Because what makes you more human, that is truly God. So whatever lifts up your soul is what I want you to take from confirmation class. Whatever makes you better, whatever makes you want to learn more or do more or be better. Because the goal of confirmation isn't to teach you everything there is to learn. It's to remind you that you're in the middle of this journey. The middle I talked about at the beginning of this service. And I know all of you are going to move forward in your education, in your knowledge, and in your good deeds. And I have to say, well, we didn't just study together. I do have to apologize for drafting you all into the Purim spiel. but you were all quite wonderful. So thank you for doing that too. It was a full year, and it's been my honor to be your teacher. It's been my honor to spend Tuesday nights with you. It's been my honor to really understand who each one of you are and to learn about you, both from watching you stand in front of, well, our elected officials and also how you present yourselves, well, within your community. So now it's time for us to make some presentations. And I'm going to ask Amy and Samantha to come forward. This is our education team. And we have both gifts and certificates. So I'm going to let you grab all that stuff and figure it out. And so, Evan, stand up for a minute. Actually, you can come all the way over here. So, Evan, thank you for taking confirmation class, as you mentioned, not once but twice. Our pandemic studies ended 2 years ago without a ceremony, with just a small little dinner in my backyard on my deck with a bunch of the kids. You deserved more at the end of the pandemic, as did the other 4 students. But that's all we were able to provide at that moment. And when you told me you were going to come back and take this class again, I was truly honored, because I know how busy you are, how you fill your time. And so the fact that you were here every Tuesday, studying with us, eating 3 plates of food, I know the heart of why you were there. I look forward to seeing how you develop as a young Jewish leader. As you move forward into college, I know that you're going to come back and tell me stories about what you're doing within your new Jewish community. So I want to say mazel tov to you, and then I'm going to have you go over there, and they're going to give you some gifts.
Not be more proud. The certificate of confirmation is presented to you and says that you have confirmed a commitment to Jewish study and good deeds. I know that to be true.
Haley, come on over here. Now, I've heard rumors that you have a nickname at home. Do you know what that nickname is? I've heard they call you Super Jew at home. Is that true? Don't you do that? Okay, I'm not going crazy. I'm not making this up. I know this. So they think of you as Super Jew. But in reality, what you really are an involved Jew. You're involved in so many aspects of our community. You're involved in both the academic confirmation class, and you're also involved in youth group. You just took on a new position as one of our youth group leaders. And this interplay is what every Jew should be going for. Learning, but also doing. And you're the example of learning and doing that so many of us should be emulating. Just like you did in D.C. when you stood up and you spoke in Brad Sherman's office. So wherever you go, I know you're going to be amazing as you were as Queen Esther in our Purim spiel. She was a great Queen Esther in her pirate getup. So as you move forward, remember, you're not a super Jew. You're an involved Jew. You're a Jew who has potential for leadership throughout your life. So mazel tov.
Thank you.
And now you're going to go over to them. Danielle, come on forward. Don't smile. Don't do it, and don't laugh. Let's all say the one word that will make her laugh right now. 1, 2, 3, Buber. There's a Jewish philosopher called Martin Buber, and whenever we studied him, she would just break out laughing. And then Morgan would follow suit, and then Haley, and then Evan, and I'd be like, oh my God, it's just the man's name. Can you stop? But that's what you do. You bring joy and happiness and laughter into the classroom. I cannot tell you the number of times we'd be studying something very serious, and then suddenly she and one of her two friends on the couch, because they always sat on the couch together, would start giggling about something. And I'm like, what's going on? And she'd be like, oh, my phone. And they would never show me, but there was something funny all the time. So I thank you for bringing that kind of humor, that kind of lightness into our study. And I don't think I can ever say that man's name again without thinking of you and laughing. Your questions about text and your ideas that derive from them were always reflective of who you are. You always wanted to see it, to learn from our studies, to figure out where you fit within Jewish community. And I especially saw this in D.C., when I watched you politic. And I saw it in our classes that when we were looking at text that interested you, text that you saw could potentially, teach you about your life. So may you continue your love of learning. I know your whole family has a love of learning throughout your life. And I want to let you know that you said Bal Tashchit perfectly tonight. I know that you were very nervous about that. Mazel tov for completing this year's study. You're very welcome. And last but not least, Morgan, come on forward. More than any other student in our class, you liked to challenge the points made by our text. Or maybe it was just points made by me, I was never always sure. But you were always willing to think very sharply and to contradict and to argue, which makes you pretty much a rabbi from the last 2,000 years. Because the idea is you should never take any of our texts and say, great, I believe it. You really attacked text, and you attacked ideas in ways that really brought them to light, that really exposed them to us in a new and better way. You were always willing to share what was on your mind, and you were always willing to add to the conversation. And you were also key in getting us off topic almost every time we had class. And I know how often you would say, but Rabbi, before we start, and you would take us down another road. I am disappointed you never brought me boba the whole time. She works at a boba place, that's in case. But I'll get over that, I promise. You were very good at taking us off topic. But as you know, I'm fine with distractions. I'm fine with veering off course if the conversation is interesting. And you always made the conversation interesting. May you continue to challenge any text or idea presented to you, viewing it from every possible angle before accepting its meaning, or rejecting its meaning. You're a wonderful student. Mazel tov on your accomplishment.
I just have to add, Morgan thanked me for schlepping at home from DC. There is no more fun than spending time with these four and all of the snacks and all of the giggles and all of the stuff. Even when I sacrificed a toe for it, yes. It was so worth it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, go on. I'm going to ask the four of you to rise for the priestly benediction. I'm going to ask your parents to quickly come onto stage because you are part of their educational process. So I'd like the parents to come forward and to place their hands on their children's heads, if you can do that. And then Joel is going to chant the priestly benediction, and I will say the English. Come on forward. And I'm going to get out of the way because I know Lorene wants a picture. Does everyone have their child yet? Place your hands on your children's heads or shoulders, whatever is more comfortable. Joel.
Yivarechecha Adonai וישמרך.
May God bless you and you and you and you.
יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונקה.
May the light of God, may the light of holiness, may the light of doing good always be in your hearts.
יישא אדוני פניו אליך, וישם לך שלום, שלום.
And as you journey forward, may you always remember the lessons learned here at Kol Tikva, through family, friends, education, mentors, and one another. Take those lessons with you and do good in this world. And together we say, Amen. And then you guys can give your kids a hug and then go return to your seats, except for Cynthia, who's going to deliver some announcements. And you guys still have to stay on stage for the closing song. Cynthia, we need you back here. You guys have to sit down for right now. I'm very...
All right. Well, thank you, Rabbi John. Thank you, Cantor Joel, and our confirmation class. Danielle, Evan, Haley, and Morgan, for a beautiful service. Mazel tov on your confirmation. And I think I can speak on behalf of all the parents and grandparents and siblings and friends and our whole congregation when I say we're really, really proud of you. It was beautiful, and we learned a lot. So you challenged us to learn tonight, and I think we all did. So I need Ava to come up. Ava, come on up. We want to wish you a mazel tov on your bat mitzvah. And on behalf of the board of directors, I didn't mean to do that. We know you're going to do a great job. You did a beautiful job tonight. And always like to learn a little bit something about our bat mitzvah girl. So I heard you really like to live in the water. You do water sports? No? A little bit? I heard a rumor that she did water sports. But I also heard that you like to, do good, you get into good trouble, which is very important. It's good to get into good trouble. So we wish you a wonderful day tomorrow. I'm sure you're going to be wonderful. And we hope that you are inspired tonight and that you will stay at Kol Tikva and be part of our teen groups and that we'll have you up here in a few years. We look forward to it. So next month starts Pride Month, and we welcome you to join us next week as we celebrate the Pride Shabbat with a special guest speaker, our very own congregant Chris Wilson. And really important, look at the back page of your Shalom sheet and sign up for our first ever drag queen bingo on Sunday, June 11th at noon. It's a family event, and we know it's going to be a blast. So we expect to see you all there. It's going to be a lot of fun. And on June 9th, we're having our night of 18 Shabbats, which you're wondering, what is that? Well, it's a night where we as a community all enjoy each other's company and celebrate Shabbat together in people's homes. And we're looking forward to more folks opening up their homes and inviting in some old friends and some new friends. It can be a potluck, it could be a hosted. There's all different ways that we celebrate together. So we need a few more hosts. So if you're willing to open up your home, we would love to hear from you. And please note there'll be no in-person services here that night. So June 9th, don't come here. But visit our website and check out your Shalom sheet. Oh, and I forgot to mention, inside the Shalom sheet is a special insert about our graduates. And for some reason, Danielle's favorite dessert was left off. So chocolate ice cream, in case you were all dying to wonder. You were all dying to know, right? And if you're here for the first time tonight, welcome. And we hope you enjoyed the service. And join us after in the social hall for our oneg. And we are very thankful to Ava's family, the Abraham family, for sponsoring our oneg tonight in honor of Ava's bat mitzvah. Thank you.
I'm going to have the four of you return to the mics. It's time for our closing song. Everyone should stand up. If you know the person next to you, put your arm around them. If you don't, ask permission first. Oseh Shalom.
Shalom Biroma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Yaseh Shalom Biroma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Yaseh Shalom Biroma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yosef Shalom Biroma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom Biroma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
And now for a quick Kiddush and Hamotzi, I'm going to ask our four confirmation students to hold this together. Let's all get four hands on it. Can we do that? Here we go. Let's point. That's not point yet. This is our Kiddush cup. Let's all hold up our imaginary Kiddush cups. I apologize. We don't have one for everyone right now. Short version.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen l'chaim.
And now, I'd like the four of you to hold up the scholar. Let's all point at that challah and go yummy, yum, yum. And now the Hamotzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon.
Give someone a hug, give them a kiss. Wish them Shabbat Shalom. Come congratulate our kids. All right, and get some challah, guys. I think we have an ice cream bar next door.